Welcome to my review of Astra, directed by James Gray and starring Brad Pitt as astronaut Roy McBride, a man who undertakes on a mission across the solar system to find out the truth about the secretive Project Lima, in which his father went on a journey into Neptune to find alien life forms disappeared, but now something to do with this ship threatens the survival of our planet. I have been dying to see this film since late last year, when this film was still supposed to come out in March, but then it was delayed because it wanted to go for the Oscar season. And after watching this film, I can get why. This film is very much a type of Oscar space film. This is not a space adventure. This is a cerebral sci-fi film. This is very much a Kubrick-ish sci-fi film. This feels very much like an odyssey across space, and it feels very Kubrick-ish, not only narratively, not only thematically, but also visually, because this film is shot like bonkers crazy good. This is one of those films that I like to use the word immaculate to describe the way it was shot. Every shot is like a moving painting on screen, and the score accompanies these images beautifully. I like to talk about scores because I'm a really big fan of film scores, and I like to talk about them when they really hit me, but I don't think I've ever talked about them in conjunction with the visuals and how good the visuals are and how well the score and the visuals complement each other. But in this film, they really do. It's really something special. The first sequence of this film alone has Brad Pitt on a satellite over the Earth, and something happens, and it is one of the most frighteningly amazing sequences in this entire year of 2019 in film. And speaking of Brad Pitt, the dude is just a man. This is his film. There are people that pop in and out of this film very quickly, but this is his movie. He's alone for most of it. This is a guy who has dealt all his life with abandonment issues, and he's very emotionally closed off. He has trouble with relationships on all levels, professionally, personally, romantically. That gives a lot to the character because Pitt is mostly just emoting, and you really do need a special actor, a great actor, to portray that beautifully, and Pitt does as well. But the film also has a lot of voiceover. Throughout, from beginning to end, you have a lot of Brad Pitt basically self-analyzing himself and analyzing the situations around him and what he's trying to decide. And as I said, the film is very Kubrick-ish in the way it tells a story. With that said, I think this film is not for everyone. This is a slow burn. It is a slow burn if I've ever seen one. This film is extremely slow, and 90% of the times it needs to be that slow. It needs to be that cerebral. It needs to make the characters think and to ask the audience to think as well. I love this film in many ways because of that. It doesn't just spoon feed you stuff. It tries to make you think about what is going on, narratively speaking and thematically speaking. This film deals with a lot of human stuff that you don't see really a lot of films deal with this sci-fi basically skin. And that's just it. The sci-fi and all that is just a skin to what the film is actually talking about. I don't want to get into spoilers, but I really appreciated the humanity that we dealt with in this film. In many ways, it reminded me of how good First Man was because of its humanity and because of the emotion in the narrative. And Brad Pitt plays this role in this type of film with this type of character just as good as Ryan Gosling did last year. And I like how the film handles the infrastructure of how we will be in the near future if we get to go as far as they do in this film. We have a station on the moon. We have basically people practically living there. Practically the same thing in Mars. We have a DHL and a Subway restaurant at the moon. So imagine if things take as long as they do over here with DHL, imagine how long they take on the moon. So I really like how the film showcases how things would actually work, and you get to understand that. But in many ways, the film takes a little too longer than necessary to tell its story. I do really appreciate slow burns. First Man was my favorite movie of last year. I love my slow burns when they're well done. And this one, again, for the most part, is really well done. But I do think there are scenes that could be chopped off. There are characters that don't need to be there at all. There are things that are presented in this film that are quite interesting, but they don't ever have a role to play again apart from this one scene where they are present. And they're actually small elements, but they were spread throughout the film, and it really bugged me. I also have to say, narration is a great tool to tell your story, and if you want to have narration, you choose a good actor to give that narration, and Brad Pitt delivers the narration splendidly well. However, I do think it's overly used. There are moments where you have Pitt sitting down and you have an emotional struggle with him. He's clearly emoting, and it's clear what he's emoting and what he's feeling through his face, through his expressions, through what he's doing and how he's doing these things because he's emotionally affected by certain events. However, the narration just kind of interrupts that. I think the narration serves a great purpose and is very well utilized at the beginning. There is a certain sequence towards the third act that Brad Pitt starts narrating again, and it's really well done. And at the end of the film has a little bit of narration over it, and I think it's done marvelously there. And it's not like the narration disappears on one moment or the other. It is spread throughout the film evenly, but I just think there was a little bit too much of it. With all these flaws still, I have to say Ad Astra is remarkably executed. I actually saw the film yesterday, but I'm glad I sat with this film. I had time to think about it and absorb it because I appreciated it more and more time goes on. It's beautiful, it's bold, it's everything you want in a space film and in a real human story. And I congratulate James Gray, who directs the crap out of this film, as well as the main man on the driving seat, or the flying seat, I guess, Brad Pitt. I'm giving Ad Astra a B+. Now let me know, what did you think of Ad Astra, my beautiful geekies, and what is your favorite cerebral space film? Thank you so much for watching. You are the best. I hope to see you in the very near future because I'll be back very soon with my Rambo Last Blood review. I hope to see you there. Once more, thank you so much for watching. So until the next video, stay beautiful, stay geeky, do click subscribe and like this video because it really helps me out. So until I see you in Rambo, love each other and love the movies.